Hello and welcome into episode 2 of Mammoth Monthly. I'm your host, Catherine Bogart. We are so excited to bring you some very special news. If you haven't heard, Utah will host the 2027 Winter Classic. This is the premier NHL outdoor game, and all eyes in the hockey world, not only domestically, but abroad, will be tuning in to watch the Mammoth take on the Colorado Avalanche. This is truly a unique experience, and it's an honor for a team to be able to host the Winter Classic, let alone in its third season of existence. There's so much excitement surrounding Utah and what's to come with this event. So, of course, we had to bring in a very special guest to not only break down the event, but give us more of an inside look into the process. Catherine Bogart, alongside Director of Content and Events for the NHL, Steve Mayer. Welcome to Utah.
Catherine, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be in Utah for all the right reasons.
We're happy to have you. Here on Mammoth Monthly, we have to talk about the biggest topic in the NHL right now. The 2027 Discover NHL Winter Classic is coming to Salt Lake City. When it comes to making the decision on who was going to host this Winter Classic, why was Utah the right fit?
So there's many reasons, but listen, the success of the franchise after a year and a half, unbelievable. And, we took note of that. One of the other reasons, believe it or not, Utah, coming from Arizona, but there's only one team in the entire league that hasn't played in an outdoor game. That's crazy. The backdrop here is like nothing else. Like, that's what excites me as the person that, I guess leads the creative team.
Right.
We are super excited about where we're playing this game. So all of these pieces led to the announcement, and this is going to be a great one. We just feel like, this is the right place for a Winter Classic.
Ashley Smith said that Utah does not fear winter. They embrace winter, and this is the prime for winter sports. Going off of your point there, when it comes to how this may look different or what the vibe surrounding this Winter Classic will be, what do you expect out of Utah 2027?
Well, I think it's also fun and interesting for the league, the dynamic of coming off of 2 outdoor games in Florida,
right,
to now really going where winter is embraced.
Right.
And we're going to embrace winter as well. We really haven't gone into the devils and the details of what it's going to look like, but I think we're going to play into where we are. Again, we always want to, and it's really important that when the viewer turns on the game, if they're in New Jersey or Florida or Tennessee or wherever they are, they know we're in Utah. They know, where this game is coming from. And I think this is a really easy place to let them know. It's just so beautiful, everything about it. And, we're going to play into how picturesque the scene is at the stadium, but also what we do on the field and how we create that environment, which we always do. I'm sure it's going to really lean into winter.
This isn't a one-day process to name the host of a Winter Classic. This is a multi-year process. What goes into deciding when, where, and how for a Winter Classic?
Well, I give a lot of credit to Ryan and Ashley Smith. I mean, from the second they started talking to Gary about, owning a franchise, they think big.
Yeah.
I mean, they just think differently than so many that are, around the league. They are, what can we do bigger and grander than just the games? And one of the things that immediately became part of the discussion is bringing a big event to Utah. Like, it was their thought from day one. And so hearing that and hearing how anxious they would be to have a game and host a game, it made all the sense of the world to start for us exploring where to play the game.
Right.
That's usually the next piece. And, we went to Rice Eccles and said, okay, we're good, we're good. And so, playing in a football stadium also has its huge advantages. I always say this, and we just got done with our game in Miami. We're about to do a game in Tampa. You just sit there on the field,
right,
and you see the rink, but you look around and you sit there and you say, there's 40,000. We're about to have 65,000 in Tampa. Last year, close to 100,000 in Columbus. In New Jersey, 150,000 for 2 games. like that is unbelievable.
Right.
Like they're watching a hockey game. And so to be able to bring that level of attendance and interest, which, that's another thing we try to do. Even if you have a ticket to the game, there's more to experience. And if you don't, there's plenty to experience as well. Like we want the Winter Classic and hockey to touch everyone here in Salt Lake and the surrounding, environment of Utah. And I think that that's what we now have to set out to do over the course of the next year.
When it comes to deciding the opponent, this will be a Central Division matchup.
Yeah.
Utah Mammoth versus Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
Why was that the right fit for this?
Yeah, I think we looked at, both of the environments, mountainous environment, like there was so many similarities. It felt like to call it, at first people were saying Battle of the Rockies. I know it's not really the Battle of the Rockies, but we felt like let's lean into two also very successful franchises. And TV has a lot to do with the opponent as well. We think it's a great matchup. It's going to really catch people's attention. And so that's why the Colorado Avalanche are the opponent. And they're thrilled. Like, everybody loves to play in these outdoor games, whether you're the home team or the away team. For a player, this is a big deal. And, that's another thing. Again, I'm talking a lot about what we just accomplished in Miami, but watching the players for the first time come into the stadium and look around and, there's that wow on their face. It's a dream. Listen, obviously the goal is to win the Stanley Cup.
Of course.
But there are some other check marks during a career, and one of them is to play an outdoor game. And I think the players will be super excited, and this is a great matchup.
We heard from Logan Cooley at the unveiling event that he grew up playing on outdoor rinks. And a lot of players, when they play in these Winter Classic or outdoor games, they talk about how they feel going back to their childhood, playing hockey the way it was for them growing up. What have you heard about the experience for these players playing in these games dating back to their outdoor days? Yeah,
no, I think they all grew up. This was the environment, and it's something they're very comfortable with. And again, it's unique and it's a big deal, and you're going to see it. You will feel it. Like as we lead closer and closer to the game, it's what everybody in Salt Lake's talking about. Yeah. It's on TV. Every time you turn around, you look up at billboards. Everybody is talking about the outdoor game. And no matter where we go, locally, there's something about these games that like takes over the community. And the same thing on the player side. They keep on talking about the Winter Classic. There's plenty of games in between, but it's like, well, we're heading towards the Winter Classic. It's a benchmark and something that, we really feel they circle on their calendar once the season begins. I love that. And it's something that, we appreciate, how meaningful the game is. And, there's been a lot of talk over the years, like, are we doing too many? Are we doing not enough? What I think has never wavered is the appeal within the local community. It's fantastic, and I think here, wow, we're gonna take over Salt Lake, and we hope that the fans, embrace all that we're gonna bring to Salt Lake for the game.
Countdown is on. We're under a year away from this event.
It's crazy, isn't it?
For you in the NHL, what goes on in this timeline over this next year planning it?
Yeah, so we'll as a team make numerous trips here. We've already, nobody knows this, but we probably have been here 3 or 4 times already. And then we start bringing all the various departments in one by one. We had recently 300 credentialed employees of the NHL that work on the game.
Okay.
So all of them have a role. I mean, it's a huge team effort, and they'll come in little by little. And, we survey the stadium, we survey all of Salt Lake City. We want to understand, what makes this environment work. And then we start then ideating about what's it going to look like.
Right.
What are some of the things that we're going to do in terms of content and messaging, and we also work on what's the music and the entertainment and how are we going to bring the teams out. All those little beats take place over the course of a year. And we probably will make up to 10 trips.
Wow.
Yeah, over the course of the year to talk about all the different things we're doing with all the different departments. But, you know, we do activate pretty immediately, because one of the first things we do is it's called scaling the building for tickets. And, you know, that's when we know how many tickets we have available, and then we start pushing the tickets out to the public.
We can feel the excitement from this conversation
Yeah,
alone.
no, listen, I love these games, and this is going to be a great one. So I am excited.
What's your favorite part of planning these events when it comes down to it?
I think, admittedly, there's so much that goes into the planning, but it is such a satisfaction to just be there the day of the game and see all the hard work that everybody does. You know, people really put their blood and guts into every inch of what we do. And then to see it all come to fruition. And, you know, when those fans, the doors open the day of the game, and the fans start filing in, and, you know, and you hear their response to what you've done, it's very satisfying. But we love the sort of ideation and the idea. You know, everybody comes at us with ideas, no matter what they do, whether they're in ticketing or whether they're in transportation, the fan fest, and and everybody. Our goal is to tell everybody, first of all, we don't ever want to do the same thing,
right?
And we have to make the next one that we do bigger and better than the last one we did. And that's the goal, and that's what we really strive for. And we no matter how big or small your job is, you got to do it better the next time. And so we challenge everybody, and they work on it, and they come with ideas. And that's also a lot of fun to hear how into for everybody, right, how into it everybody is quite satisfying when you're essentially the one that's leading the group.
We cannot wait to see how the 2027 edition of the Winter Classic will stack up and even be better than the ones previous. And Steve, that's all the time we can take away from you. But thank you so much for peeling back the curtain, explaining the Winter Classic, and we cannot wait until early January 2027.
We can't wait as well. Thank you. And there will be plenty more to come for your audience. And that's also the fun part. We constantly will be talking about all the things we're going to do together.
Cannot wait. Thank you so much.
Great.
It is incredible to not only hear about what to expect when it comes to the 2027 Winter Classic here in Salt Lake City, but also how this event is planned and what goes into the process of choosing a host city and the 12 months from the announcement to actually putting on the event. The countdown is on, and make sure you stay tuned to the Mammoth social media channels and website, because there will continue to be more information about the Winter Classic there. Now that we've looked into the future, let's take a look back at December 2025. It was a really busy month for the Mammoth off the ice. On December 9th, SEG held its Pay It Forward Day. This is an incredible initiative all about those small acts of kindness to help bring the community together. And Mammoth players were out in action. SEG co-founder Ashley Smith, Mammoth players, and members from the Boys and Girls Club went to Target to do some holiday shopping. Let's hear from Smith and defenseman Sean Dursey about the experience.
I love sports because they bring people together. They unify us in a very divided world. And if there's one thing that I think everyone can agree upon, is that we love moments that we get to be kind, and we love it when others are kind to us. And it's what a great thing to unify over. And it's just been a cool day to see the players and the organization and the broadcast team and all come together to do kind things. And it's been fun to watch.
SEG Pay It Forward Day. It's second year in a row. I think it's been an awesome day. Just smiles, laughs, for us to come out here and just see all the happy faces, and be in the community's been incredible. You get emotional thinking about just how important this time of year is and how fortunate we all are, and to give back to the community, I think, is the least we can do. And I'm just happy that we were able to do that today.
Yeah, I think in general, Utah is kind. We're the most generous state. That's common knowledge, right? And putting a magnifying glass on that, and then trying to reach all corners and just build that muscle of kindness and looking outside of ourselves and making small actions that help each other. But mostly it's just that it already exists in Utah. Utah is the most incredible state, and I'm so thankful to live here. And what a great opportunity to just shine a light and build the muscle and be intentional with what we're doing in a time of year where it's beautiful, but it also can be very hard. And life is hard, and we need skills. And I think intentionally building the skill of helping others is such a great way to do it.
A couple days after Pay It Forward, 2 members of the Utah Mammoth received a new piece of hardware. Goaltender Vitek Vanecek and defenseman Nate Schmidt were both a part of the Florida Panthers team that won the Stanley Cup last summer. Since both players are now members of the Mammoth, they were not at the ring ceremony that Florida held earlier this season. However, when the Panthers came to town, they brought those rings for their 2 former teammates. Let's hear more from Vanecek and Schmidt about receiving these rings and sharing this experience together.
Yeah, I mean it's great to see them. I was good playoffs with them. So it's always great to see them. And then it's another experience. It's first time to touching the ring. I put it actually opposite, so they told me I have to go other way. So it's really heavy. It's really heavy, and then it's beautiful.
It's pretty surreal to see it actually in person. You see this stuff online at the beginning of the year. I tried not to look at it, truthfully. I wanted to have it be a surprise, but that was really tough. At that point, I wanted to look and see what happened. But it's way bigger in person. It covers up at least 3 of my fingers. It's pretty amazing what they do for. It's just kind of commemorative. Actually, probably the greatest moment is when I got to show Harvey, my son, when I got home. He was pretty. I think he might have been more excited than I. I mean, I was pretty excited, but he was pretty excited to show it. I put it on his hand, started walking around the house like, please don't drop it. No, it was great. My wife got a really nice pendant as well. So it was I told him it's the Schmidt family ring. So now he knows. Harvey knows they can go look at it and put it on, but it's not for banging around.
What was it like to do this with Schmitty as well, both of you coming over from that team to this team?
I mean, it's nice to do it with the Schmitty, like I'm not talking too much, and then I know he's talking a lot, so it's nice he can be there and then talk even more like me. So it's for sure a special moment, and I can be here with him right now. So he's a great teammate, he's a good guy, and then like I said, he's funny and then talking a lot. So it's always good to be with him.
Now that you have this ring, now that you've put a bookend on that, how does this fuel you and wanting to bring another Stanley Cup ring and another Stanley Cup championship to your resume?
Yeah, it's too much fun not to do it again. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. It's something that's it's intoxicating, that feeling of something that you work for all year, and not just all year. It's for everybody that you've worked with, right? And so. Just see the elation it brings and joy that it does to not only the guys, but to everyone that puts in all the work around it. People that are in the forefront, staff members all throughout the organization. That's the extra part of it that I really enjoy, and that's what I want to see again in my life. Because again, my son got to drink out of the cup. My daughter wasn't old enough, so that's my new motivation will be to make sure that she can get a sip out of it.
As busy as December was off the ice, it was also incredibly busy on the ice. The Mammoth had 14 games in December, 13 of which were in the first 23 days of the month. After the holiday break, Utah had 1 game at home before heading out to the East Coast for a 3-game swing. Currently, the Mammoth are in the middle of a season-long 7-game homestand, and there's plenty of storylines surrounding the team at this time. Let's bring in Nick Olczyk to break down all the storylines surrounding this team. Nick, welcome back to Mammoth Monthly. We're happy to have you here for episode 2.
Catherine, I'm glad you called me back. It's I guess the trial run went well, so great to be back, and always nice to catch up with you and try to inform and entertain our great fans out there.
You'd pass the trial run. Here we are. This is the permanent position now. Nick, looking back at 2025, can't believe we're already in January 2026, but what moment stands out to you from last year with the Mammoth?
If I'm being totally honest, I don't want to cop out with this answer, but it's the branding. And I think that's an easy thing to say because, look, there were some great moments throughout the season at the end of last year and the start of this season. But for me, it was when they went from the Utah Hockey Club to the Utah Mammoth. And love the hockey club, love that. But just the next evolution of getting the fans involved. And we cannot give enough kudos and enough applause and enough thank yous to Ryan and Ashley Smith for what they did for putting the naming and the branding in the hands of the fans. And from day one, they both had mentioned that this team is a gift for the community. And so why not allow the community then to have permanent fingerprints on it from now until infinity. So over 850,000 votes in the voting process. The other names that were out there, I'm so happy that we landed on the name that we did here. The color branding from day one has been absolutely stellar. I'm privy to black and blue. Those are the colors that I love the most. Tusky, the birth of Tusky going 7-0 in the first 7 games. I just think there's so much good vibes and an amazing atmosphere around the organization now. And I really do think is that you look at franchises, even those that have been around since the original 6 days, that are going to be celebrating their centennial seasons this year, a team like the New York Rangers. Hopefully when we get to 100 years of the National Hockey League here in Utah, we can look back and the fans can look back and say, we stamped our mark on what we love about hockey here in Utah. So to me, CB, long-winded, of all the great things that have happened on the ice, to me, I think the most impactful thing in my mind last year was what's happened off the ice, because players will come and go. People will come and go. But what will remain permanent is the identity of this team that was started by the great fans.
I think that forever identity is a popular answer, not only with fans within the fan base, but also teams come in all the time and they say, oh, we love the colors, we love the logo, we love the name. It's so sharp.
And how about the facilities, too? The practice facility down at Southtown, which in the not-so-distant future is going to be open to the public, and we're going to have youth hockey tournaments and games and learn to play there, and the renovations at Delta Center. There's no doubt that everybody here at Smith Entertainment Group and the Utah Mammoth are all in for hockey and all in on the community.
All in for hockey. Let's jump into hockey. On the ice, the team has 4 wins in their first 5 games of the year. That's a huge stretch of very valuable points, including over some Central Division opponents. Nick, surrounding this team, they talked about wanting more wins, finding those dirty ways to get the wins even when they don't feel like they can get the goals in, and they've done that. What are the major themes you've seen from this team on the ice as they enter into the second week of the new year?
2 things come to mind. First, I'm going to piggyback off of what you mentioned about divisional games. And let's just look at one game in particular against the St. Louis Blues. It was a bit of a dogfight. It started off with that emotional tilt, Jack McBain standing up for Logan Cooley and feeding Alexei Toropchenko so many rights. I think he was probably begging for a left, if we're being totally honest. But you'd love to see teammates standing up for one another. It's one thing to say that you love your brother that you sit next to in the room. It's another thing to go out and do something about it. So first off, kudos to Jack McBain in that case. But in that game, there were peaks and valleys. There was adversity that Utah had to push through. But at the end of the day, when you're facing teams within your division, it's not only wanting to win, especially in regulation, so you don't give the other team a point. It's to try to not only close the gap between yourself and the teams that are above you, but create standing separation between yourself and the teams that are below you. And going into that game, the Utah Mammoth had a 3-point lead on the St. Louis Blues. They win that game in regulation, and all of a sudden now it's a 5-point gap. So it may not seem like a lot now, but that type of win, that type of game, very well could mean something when we get to the end of the season, when we're looking at hopefully a playoff berth for the Utah Mammoth. And the second part of that, which does play a role in that game, has been special teams. And it's not just scoring a power play goal. It's not just killing off a penalty. It's the timeliness of it. For example, 3-2, Utah ahead in the third period. They get a power play. They find a way to get a power play goal. You increase your cushion. You create a little bit more breathing room. And then all of a sudden, if you're the opposition, it's like we're one shot away. Now we're 2 shots away. It's a little bit more of a mental hurdle to try to get over. And the second part of that is the penalty kill. It's not only been outstanding here lately, but 4-2, end of the game against the St. Louis Blues. If they score then, same story like we just talked about. They're only 1 shot away late in the game, and then all of a sudden you're playing the last 2.5 minutes where you're really just trying to hold on, take on some water, and push the other way eventually. So the penalty kill there, also the penalty kill late again the New York Ranger game to keep that game 2-2. Sean Durzi goes on to win it in overtime. So to me, it's not just that you kill off a penalty. It's not just that you score a power play goal. It's trying to come up with timely execution in terms of that regard. And I think to start the homestand, to start the new year, those have been some of the most impressive things, at least that I've seen from my point of view.
This homestand is so important. Going into January, Utah has played the most road games in the NHL. It is not easy to play every other day. Mix in the most road games. You are constantly traveling. You're not at home. You're not in a rhythm. However, the Mammoth weathered the storm. They were right there in the playoff push. They come into the 7-game homestand. Everyone discusses how important it is. Now that we're approaching the halfway point of this homestand, how are you seeing this team set themselves up for success, as you kind of touched on with that Central Division, but how are you seeing this team set themselves up for success going into the second half of the homestand and then into a big road trip at the end of the month?
I think the one difference that I've seen from where I stand and do games from between the benches, as I had the privilege of doing last year and the honor again to do this season, is how the Mammoth play at home. I thought last year there were too many situations where they were trying to make the fancy play too much. And in the National Hockey League, look, we've got the best players in the world, no doubt, offensively. But we also got some of the best defensive players in the world. There's no doubt about that. So sometimes chipping the puck in and going to get it, giving it away to get it back, that's where the guys without the puck play so big of a role. And that's not to say that you're a robot. If there's time and space to make a play, they've got guys on this team that can make plays at an elite level. There's no doubt about it. But I just felt like last year there was too much trying to play into the oohs and ahs and pass the puck in the back of the net. I just have seen this year there's been, I don't know if I'd say a little bit more straight ahead, but I just think when you hear the word execution, if there's a play to be made, they make it. If there's not, if there's one Mammoth player going up against 2 guys on the other team, more times than not, he's made the right play to chip it deep and then wait for the cavalry to come and to create some puck support in the offensive zone. So at home, you want to win the majority of your games. Just on average, for some of our newer fans, if you can go 500 on the road and be at a 70%, 65% clip for winning your home games, you're going to love the way that you play, and you're going to love even more where you're at by the end of the season. So I just have thought how important this homestand is. Yes, very important, but the way that they've played, a little bit more of a matter of fact in their decision making, has been, for me, the biggest difference from last year to this season.
Something that's really exciting buzz around the building as well. It's going to be on the ice in about a year from now. The Winter Classic is coming to Utah. Utah Mammoth, Colorado Avalanche, Central Division matchup. A really close matchup as well in recent games this season. I mean, those 2 teams have been separated by just 1 goal. So on the ice, it's going to be a great matchup. Off the ice, it is going to be the elite premier outdoor game for the NHL here at the University of Utah. Nick, you have had the privilege of going to multiple Winter Classics and Stadium Series. You've seen the production. You've seen how exciting these games are. From what you've heard in the locker room, around the organization, from the fan base, what's the level of excitement that people have for hockey going outdoors?
CB, do you have a fast forward button anywhere I could borrow? Because to get there, it is going to be a heck of a journey, but I just can't wait, not only selfishly for me to be able to experience it, but all of the great fans here in the great state of Utah, and hopefully those that can come in for the game. I think especially you mentioned the rivalry, the budding rivalry between the Mammoth and the Avalanche. It's playoff series and big games. That's what creates and is only going to enhance a rivalry like that. To put this into perspective, not only is it going to have been in the third season for the Utah Mammoth that they acquire an outdoor game. 32 cities every year want to host this game. 32 cities, 32 teams want to be part of this. They want it to be in their backyard. It's the Super Bowl of the regular season. It's the marquee event in the National Hockey League's regular season. And so all of the pomp and the circumstance and everything that's going to go on around this game is going to be so special. And then when the puck drops, it's going to be just another game? I don't think so. It is not just another game because there's so much extracurricular that goes into it. All the families of the players are going to come into town. The coaches, the hockey staff. We're going to have the Road to the Winter Classic behind-the-scenes show where you get to learn about the players on the Mammoth, the players on the Avalanche. So, and that's always been a personal favorite of mine, being glued to my TV, watching the build-up to it and learning about the players and the behind-the-scenes. And the National Hockey League brings in their ice gurus and their massive refrigeration units, and they make ice in a football stadium. And when we had the chance to be there for the announcement, the steepness of Rice Eccles Stadium, how close in proximity the field is to the stands. With all due respect, baseball stadiums, amazing places, but sometimes the stands and the crowd is so far away that you need binoculars to be able to see the game and to see the puck. So that's why I just think there will not be a bad seat in Rice Eccles Stadium. And if you're able and willing, find a way to get your hands on these tickets. It is going to be a sellout, but find a way to get there because it looks great on TV, but to fully appreciate the atmosphere that is the Winter Classic, you got to be there. And so excited for the community because the economic impact, which is something that many people don't talk about, that's going to be huge as well for all the local businesses, the hotels, the restaurants, the bars, the shops. So proud to be part of the organization that's putting this on. And again, Ryan and Ashley Smith continue to hit Grand Slam after Grand Slam. It's not even been, a year and a half, and the Winter Classic is coming to Utah.
Not every team in the NHL has even hosted the Winter Classic yet. Every team now will have participated in an outdoor game. That's an incredible feat by the NHL, especially when you think of how many teams are in warmer markets, and some of them have hosted, but now every team will have played an outdoor game, and Utah is one of the first 15 teams to host a Winter Classic. So a huge honor for this team. Nick, we appreciate you bringing us inside everything going on within the Mammoth, on the ice, off the ice, and we cannot wait to see you on the next episode in February.
It's my pleasure, CB. Keep up the great work.
It has been such an exciting few weeks for the Utah Mammoth organization, and the fun is only continuing moving forward. In our next episode of Mammoth Monthly, we're going to go over all things Olympics as Utah has 4 players representing this franchise on the international stage. Before we go, a big shout out to Nashcast and Mammoth Daily, 2 incredible podcasts giving you all the coverage you need of your favorite NHL team. Also, are you following the Mammoth social media channels? If you're not, go on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and give them a follow. There's new content daily, if not hourly. Everything from brain rots to the stories you want to read about your favorite NHL team. That's all the time we have for this second episode of Mammoth Monthly, but thank you so much for listening in. Make sure you engage with us on social media and tell us what you want to hear in upcoming episodes. We'll see you next time.